Across Central Oregon on this Friday, we have been a little bit warmer. Temperatures near average for this time of the year. We are setting up for a gorgeous weekend across Central Oregon. Hey everyone, I'm Darrell Winninger, the meteorologist at Central Oregon Daily News. And across the high desert, we started off with more sunshine. And right now, there are additional clouds, but these clouds are thin, upper level clouds. So not bringing any precipitation in sight. And they are just thin, wispy clouds. So the sun is actually being filtered by this cloud cover a little bit. And when we look across Central Oregon, we do see those areas of blue. We also see a little bit of haze. This haze is partially from a couple of pile burns, some ag burns across parts of Central Oregon. But when we go ahead and look at our air quality across the high desert, sitting in the green with two different air quality monitoring networks. The first one is the DEQ, courtesy of airnow.gov, the Department of Environmental Quality. Pardon me. The second is that eSpace sensor group, and that network is all those little green and yellow dots that you see across the map. Those are real-time sensors, whereas the DEQ's map is an hourly average. So the hourly average is in the green. The real-time sensors are mostly in the green. We just have one sitting at moderate. But when we look at a different network, this is the Purple Air network, it's mostly in the green as well. So through the day, even a little bit of haze, not setting us back at all. Now, temperatures topped out near average for this time of the year, and going forward we are expecting even more warming. Today alone we've been sitting 5 to 15 degrees above average for this time of the year, and just looking at some of the roads across the high desert, dry. You can even see those shadows on the ground because of that filtered sunshine due to those thin upper level clouds. Even in the Cascades, there's not much at all going on. We have dry roads for the most part. There you can see some of that snow still on the side of the road from this past system that pushed through, putting 20 inches on the ground at both Bachelor and Hoodoo. So that means through Century Drive near Bachelor and through Sandy Ann Pass. That's where we got the 20 inches plus. And I think Government Camp got about 15 inches at Meadows, I believe it was. Now, satellite and radar does show that this cloud cover has been rolling in, but it's not packing much of a punch. It is just clouds. There's no precipitation in sight. Not even when we back the camera out looking at the full Pacific Northwest wedge do we see much in the way of precipitation at all. There's a few lingering snow showers and rain showers over Idaho, as far over as Pocatello and Idaho Falls, but getting up into the Olympic Peninsula, a couple of sprinkles, and that is about it. For Central Oregon, we have been dry. We are going to stay dry all the way through this weekend. It's not even until next week that our next chance of rain is expected. So tonight, some clearing is in the plan. Our temperatures get chilly. In fact, by the time we start the day tomorrow, some of us near and below freezing. Not everybody, though. It's not going to be as cold as we started this Friday. Then through the day, in and out cover, still very dry. And winds are mostly going to be at a light breeze. We're talking 2 to 12 miles per hour. Some of the gusts could get up to 20. So when we look at a different view of this is the enhanced infrared satellite imagery. The one we were just looking at was a blend of visible and infrared satellite imagery. This one just pulls out those taller clouds. And the way that works is with infrared satellite imagery, it's looking at the color of the cloud, assigning it a value, and then you set a color palette up to help explain what's going on. And so we just put a little bit of an enhancement on there to really pull out those tall clouds. So in the Midwest, where they're having severe weather, you can see all of that red through there. That is a couple of things. Number one, there are tornado watches and warnings. There's a whole bunch of lightning, and that red cloud cover is where there is just a very tall clouds. Now, meanwhile, in Central Oregon, we don't see any of that. Even where there is a little bit of cloud cover, it's mostly thin cloud cover, so not really even showing up on here, and there's no precipitation in sight. Meanwhile, with water vapor imagery, similar to infrared, but this just focuses on where there is some water vapor overhead, and we don't see much at all. We do see these clouds. We see some contrails off in the distance, especially over the Pacific Ocean, but when it comes to deep moisture, we're just absent that. And it's not extremely dry either. You can see where that dry air mass is from Spokane through Boise, getting into Nevada and Utah. But for us over Central Oregon, we got some cloud cover, no precipitation, and it's going to stay that way. By tonight, we do catch some clearing. By tomorrow, back to times of sunshine, a little bit of warming, actually a lot of warming with a little bit of a breeze possible. Temperatures pick up even more. And then by Sunday, we're solidly into the 70s. Winds getting breezy at times during the afternoon. And by Sunday and Monday, a few sprinkles, we'll call them stray sprinkles from that system offshore, could be rolling into the high desert. In fact, that entire time, our next system is just sitting offshore right behind the camera here. And you're not really going to see it take shape until we look at the bigger picture. So when it comes to relative humidity, we're very dry. We're in the teens and 20s. Now, it's not critical humidity until most of the area is below 15%, but it is nevertheless dry. And temperatures today topped out in the 50s and 60s. So when we look at actual temperatures, we're still there, 50s, a few 60s on the map. We do have 62 in Warm Springs, and temperatures this afternoon and evening have been running between 7 and 15 degrees warmer than just 24 hours ago. This is the type of warming trend that's going to continue right into this weekend. By Sunday and Monday, the additional cloud cover is going to slow down our warming trend, but it's not going to change much. We're still going to be topping out even pleasantly warmer and in the 70s. But first tonight, it does get chilly. Many of us fall to near and below freezing. By tomorrow, through the 50s, through the 60s, and into the 70s for some, just not everybody. So we're looking at a high on either side of 70 degrees. With 60s and 70s, it's still well above average for this time of the year. The average high is 58 in Bend and 60 in Redmond. And so that means we're going to be running 10 degrees above average for this time of the year, but still not done warming. So there's what's actually happening is a ridge of high pressure is building into the Pacific Northwest, and it's forming what we refer to as a blocking high. And this is going to block any development from the west. Any system that's already starting to spin up, it's going to keep it from moving into the Pacific Northwest. And so you'll notice this word that says showers that's out over the Pacific Ocean, that is going to stay out there for quite some time. Sorry, I'm trying to keep a sneeze back. But through Saturday, we do have a chilly start in the forecast. A light breeze is expected with a mixture of sunshine and clouds, highs in the 60s and 70s. By Sunday, still firmly under this ridge of high pressure, highs in the 70s with a few 60s, so it gets a little bit warmer. And this is when we can start to see the potential of a few stray showers coming in from the system Sunday and Monday toward the Pacific Northwest, toward Central Oregon. Best bet is if that happens, the mountains are going to absorb most of that moisture, but a sprinkle or two isn't out of the question. By Monday, still pleasant, and we could get some of those sprinkles, highs still in the 70s with a few 60s. Winds pick up a little bit more. Cloud cover and wind speed increase each day. So Saturday a little bit more. By Sunday and Monday, more clouds and in and out cover with wind speeds that are going to become breezy for many of us. But we're still going to be dry during that time. In fact, when we look at the bigger picture, this low is going to be redeveloping by Monday at 11 p.m. and we'll start to see the impacts of it by the time we get to Tuesday. But between now and Monday at 11, we're dry, no rain in sight. So this weekend is going to be gorgeous. We're looking at highs reaching into the 70s, just not quite everybody, breezy at times, and no precipitation in sight. Then 70s become a little bit of a theme through the beginning of next week, and then by midweek, Tuesday and Wednesday, rain chances return, winds pick up, and temperatures drop significantly back to below average for this time of the year. So your forecast model actually shows a couple of different things. First, in and out clouds are expected through the next several days. Second, we're going to be dry. Now by Sunday and Monday, a few sprinkles are going to be possible, but they'll be few and far between. By Tuesday, that's when we start to catch this chance of some showers. And depending on how high temperatures warm on Tuesday before these showers start up, there's a very low chance of some thunderstorm activity. But when we look at the extended forecast model, the GFS, it paints a similar picture. In and out clouds through this weekend, allowing for abundant warming, not much in the way of precipitation until Tuesday. And then by Wednesday, starting off with a little bit of snow shower activity. So snow levels up and down. And we keep a hold of a little bit of that moisture, that lingering moisture into Thursday. Very similar to the system that pushed through this week, just not as much in the way of mountain snow. And by Friday, going into next weekend, we are clearing out. So between now and Sunday at 11 p.m., nada. We're dry. Maybe a few stray sprinkles. And then by Friday at 7 a.m., this time next week, we are looking at more rain on the ground with a little bit of snow. Not much in the way of mountain snow is expected with this next system, but bringing us some much needed precipitation. So when it comes to winds, huge difference from this time yesterday. We just have a light breeze And gusts aren't impressive. Actual wind speeds are at a gentle breeze, and here through the next couple of days, we keep that light breeze. By Sunday and Monday, winds become breezy, and then they get gusty. Then we get our next chance of rain. So for tonight, expect 30s and some 20s. By tomorrow, through the 60s into the 70s, and then our 7-day planner shows further into the 70s. So even more warming is expected. Rain chances really come back into play Tuesday and Wednesday. Little bit of mountain snow possible. Winds get gusty with a big drop in temperatures going from the mid 70s to the low 50s with some 40s on the map. And then our next warming trend begins late in the 7-day planner. So quick recap for you. Our weather headlines for this Friday, April the 17th. A pleasantly warmer weekend is expected. Milder days and more clouds across the high desert, but we're rain free until next week. Save the potential for a few sprinkles, possible Sunday and Monday, but like I said, few and far between. What we're seeing right now is just some cloud cover over the high desert, and it's thin cloud cover, so it's just filtering the sunshine, still allowing for the 5 to 15 degree jump in temperatures today. That's the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News. We'll have the latest headlines and your most reliable forecast. See you then.